I met Luciano Pavarotti very briefly at a large gathering. It's when I was doing Happy Days, and it was probably some kind of party for the network, or it might have been the Golden Globes, or it was some kind of an event where I was aware he was there, and I kind of managed just a quick handshake. I can't say that I was a fan of opera, but I certainly knew about Pavarotti and this phenomenon that was underway. He's one of those individuals who's just universally adored. He was great with people. We talk about this in the documentary, but he's one of those individuals that really would make a connection and make you feel that that he was glad to meet you. And I felt that way, as brief as it was. I have not been a fan of opera, but I wasn't a fan of Formula One before I did Rush. And I didn't know that much about the space program before I did Apollo 13. Appreciation, yes. And I certainly have appreciation for opera and Pavarotti. I'm fascinated by by characters, by individuals, in the way that they're tested and challenged, and of course, high achievers are always fascinating to us because we want to know how that thing is possible, and you begin to delve into the world of opera, and you realize that that artistry it both comes from the heart, but it's also like an incredible physical feat to deliver those notes combined with a true performance in a way that's going to resonate with you. And I don't understand the lyrics, and yet I'm moved. The movie is a character's journey, and it's an unexpected one. It's fun. He's funny. He's charismatic. He's a great figure. And the music that's sort of his tool. That's what he used to carry him to greatness. But that's not the story. It's a huge enhancement. Sometimes those arias help us tell the story of what's going on in his life, but it's not the story of the music. It is the story of the life, and it's a very surprising journey and very engrossing, and probably more entertaining in surprising ways. The highs, the lows, the laughs, and even the twists and turns. I'm an actor's director. I look at faces, whether a camera's rolling or not, and I can't help but sort of be drawn into what I think is going on behind whatever the person's saying or doing. That's in life, or that's in a scene. And as soon as I started working on the film, I was just kind of blown away by what you can see going on behind Pavarotti's eyes when he's performing. I was engrossed by the shape of the journey. And as I only thought of it as this remarkable, sort of nothing but high watermarks kind of career. And of course, he had vast success. But when I looked at it, to me, it said something about passion for life and passion for art, and there are risks involved in both. And he bore the brunt of taking some of those risks, but he also, sort of no guts, no glory. I think ultimately he lived a very, very glorious life, and I think that the drama of that was unexpected and interesting and very, very human. In our documentary, he talks about how at one point he's never really happy, and I believe it. I believe it. Having now lived with him as a character, I think he could be kind of satisfied, and know he gave his best, but I don't think he ever felt like he'd completely, realize the full potential of any one aria at any moment, and there's something kind of comforting in that, but it also tells you why he could reach the heights that he did, because he never thought he was there, right? And so if you always feel like you can do a little better, then perhaps you will. We've had so much support that I think we've gotten that right. But I also hope that that person who's never really paid much attention, but hears that it's a good story, will watch the film, and once again Pavarotti will be this great ambassador for his art form, because I find myself waking up in the morning and in the shower, I realize I'm kind of humming an aria. I mean, it's infectious, and it's powerful, and it's moving. And I hope people discover the art form through the movie. He loved music. He loved people. He loved the narrative power of what it could be. And he wasn't an elitist, and he loved it. So he grew up in a culture where opera was a form of popular entertainment, and it spoke to everyone. And outside of Italy, he didn't find that to necessarily be the case. It was sort of for elitists only, and that limited it. And he, it was really important to him to go further. His relationship with Princess Diana was pivotal. And as we began to read and explore footage, and you could just see it, and he was enamored with her, but it wasn't lust. There was a mutual admiration, and also I think she taught him in a way that there could be a tremendous sense of satisfaction behind supporting causes, and not just showing up, but really working hard at it. And he carried that with him the rest of his life. We're here in London. I was driving over to Abbey Road today, and I was gotten a cab, London cab. Cabbie happened to recognize me. "What are you working on, Ron?" And I said, "Well, I'm doing a documentary about Pavarotti." He said, "I'll never forget that 1990 that football match in Nessun Dorma," and it all came back to him. So all these years later, it resonates with people. The idea of helping others in a really concerted way and with dedication fueled him in the later years of his career. And he did so much, which again he was often criticized for, because he would blend pop music with his work to have these concerts that would raise money, and they really would. But he would also go to these places and open schools and donate money and his own money, and so that was another thing that I really had no idea of. That's a great thing to remind audiences of. Bono loves Pavarotti so much, and it is so clear in the interview, the friendship that they had. And the mutual respect is so clear, and Bono's respect of Pavarotti. And his interviews are a gift. They're a gift to the memory of Luciano and to our film, because he's able to articulate so much in terms of the X factor. What Luciano brings to the music of himself, and that in such powerful, wise ways that it's his interviews are, I think, elevate everything, and I'm really so pleased that he agreed to do them. Nigel Sinclair, who's the producer, who drew me into first the Beatles 8 Days a Week documentary, and now Pavarotti, and he's produced a number of outstanding documentaries, and he's a producer on this, but he's also very much creatively engaged in it, has great ideas and great taste. So he's a part of many of our conversations and editing sessions and so forth, and he's great. Without the support of the estate and and his family, I don't think any of us would have undertaken it. And I think we also really respect that he's only 10 or so years gone. It's still very fresh, his passing for them, and the journey had a lot of highs and some lows, and I'm very grateful for their support. Their interviews are remarkable. Not easy for them to give, and I think they convey so much of the humanity of this story, and that's what makes it not just a sort of a skipping down memory lane. Look at what a great performer he was. It is the story of his journey and his loved ones, and the lives they lived together, and I think that's what makes the story so much more relatable. And then when you come to those arias, you feel so much more. Pavarotti's mission to be this global ambassador for this art form, took him up the Amazon River. It took him to China. It took him to the heartland of America, and fortunately, somebody always managed to drag a camera along, and so there are all kinds of surprises. But again, it's because he ventured out. He had this spirit and this zest for life that was compelled him to try stuff, to meet people, and opera was sort of the mission, and it gave him a reason. But obviously, there's also just this this love of exploration and people and life, and wanting to be a part of as much of it as he could. Look, Pavarotti is pure charisma, it's that. If anything, it's sort of a testament to living your life with passion and unabashed, commitment to something you love. His art, his family, people close to him. That love. He the food, horses. Philanthropy. He did. Everything was big. Every commitment was big and full on, and it sort of celebrates that. My sense is that Pavarotti was really his own man, and he kind of had a dream. He had a sense of what he should do, and I think once the world was telling him that. That they were interested, that he had something to offer, I think he took charge of that. I think the combination of the art form and him and his passion for it, was always first and foremost. And I think he sacrificed for that. But he was a great guy, a lovable guy, charismatic, all of those things. But he was nobody's fool. I think he was always in charge, and part of the fun of some of the fun scenes that we discovered really have to do with him sort of navigating those with the sort of the levers of power, and it's really, it's pretty hilarious to see the way he charmed, cajoled, bulldozed, and managed to ultimately follow the path that he had chosen time and time again. Sometimes that total commitment for him to his art, to a project that mattered to him, to a relationship that became important, and something new in life that mattered, could cause him a lot of heartache. But I think that in his own way, he was determined to never be a victim of anybody else's idea of what he should be, but to be his own agent and take the action that he believed in when he would search his own heart, which is what I think he did time and again.